Hello, hello, hello. And welcome to Thursday Night Insights. Due to a scheduling conflict, we have had to make up for it, and I can already see Jason down below seething, angry at me. As always, I'm your host at Javnaugh87, Jack Kavanaugh, and we are here to talk some off-season football.
It only took you less than 90 seconds to throw Jason under the bus. Poor Jason.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing Jason
he
under the
swallowed
bus.
his pride to come on today or tonight, and you just rip him.
I'm
90
blaming
seconds in.
myself for the scheduling conflict.
Well, you know that's not how he's going to take it. You know,
I'm just acknowledging that Jason is upset with me because I am a flake.
Yeah, all season long. I'm always the one who has to show up and carry everything. And here I am getting just thrown under this bus for no reason except for you want to look good.
There's
it's fine.
no bus
it's fine.
that
I'm
you're
used
being
to it.
thrown under. I'm apologizing to you.
We have
Yeah.
established many times, and I mean this, Jason, you are the straw that stirs this drink. We would be nothing without you.
Truly.
Oh, whatever. You guys would be just fine. You'd have more analysis, and it'd be a little.
No,
more
we
boring.
wouldn't.
It'd be a little more boring, but that's just part of it.
Exactly.
We would have 33% less analysis.
Oh no, there'd probably be 50% more. I'm just here for the fun.
Well, that's what we're here to bring tonight. We've got some reckless speculation about the NFL. We're going to be talking quarterback carousel, but first, we got to break down the news. And is it just me, or are we all literally awaiting the announcement of Dan Quinn has signed with X team, and then there's going to be 3 or 4 announcements in the next half hour?
So you think Dan Quinn is the first domino?
I think he is, because everyone wants him from the sounds of it. He's got, 5 head coaching interviews?
Yeah.
He's going to sign with Denver.
Which I called. I had that last week. I called that.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened, but if it does, I want my credit. I want my victory lap.
Yeah, he's going to sign with Denver, and then when that happens, everyone else is going to be, okay, signing number 2 right now.
I just don't understand why everybody's so interested in him. I still want people like Dayball or Bieniemy to be top picks here, and I don't understand. Oh, gosh.
Mason Cameron, the resident Denver Broncos fan, does not agree with Dan Quinn.
Well, I can't blame him. Like I think he mentioned this on what show is it? I remember he said that like this is going to be the 3rd defensive head coach
that
in
Broncos
a row.
Go after.
Yeah, and what do you have to show for it? Yeah, the defense is great, but you haven't made the playoffs since Peyton was there, so why does it matter? And I kind of agree with him, but Dan Quinn just makes sense. Like that just feels right to say that Dan Quinn will be the new head coach of the Broncos, and if all indications are correct, that's what's going to happen.
From the sounds of it, it's the reason everyone wants Dan Quinn is because he can put a staff together. He has so many connections across the league. He's going to put together a high-end staff and hopefully bring you to the Super Bowl with a genius offensive coordinator, like with Kyle Shanahan back with the Atlanta Falcons. That's the appeal. And it really sounds as though he's going to have his pick of the litter for these jobs. Once that happens, I think a lot of teams are going to have to go with their backup plan. However, we do have some finalists to announce in these head coaching searches. First and foremost, Matt Eberflus with not only the Chicago Bears, but also
with everybody.
The Jacksonville. No, it's only 2. It's only the Bears and the Jaguars so far. Jordan, your reaction.
Okay, I have nothing against Matt Eberflus. Like, I'm not going to stand up here and say he doesn't deserve it. He has been a head coaching candidate for the last several years and hasn't gotten the job, which has been great for the Colts. I feel like I don't know what went wrong with the Colts. Like, their secondary was Swiss cheese just because of the injuries they had, and they do give up their bend, don't break defense, cover 2, whatever. My thing is this, and I don't know enough about Eberflus because he's not the one going up and talking to the camera each and every week. So I don't really know what his personality is like. But this is the problem some teams have, is that they mistake head coaches with guys who are really good at drawing up X's and O's rather than guys that can lead a team. So guys like last year, like Dan Campbell and Robert Saleh, guys that I would want to go after because those are guys that are going to lead a locker room and like want and going to get their players to run through a brick wall. And like I said, I don't know Eberflus. Is he capable of that? Or is he just a really good defensive schemer? You know what I mean?
The one credit I will say to him potentially being that type of leader, he wasn't hired by Frank Reich. If you remember, he was hired by Josh McDaniels, and I know you want to forget.
Well, you know what also I read about too? If and thank God it didn't happen, but if McDaniels was the head coach, he was going to bring Joe Judge too, so that would have been interesting. Yeah.
Maybe that would have saved Giant fans.
Who knows?
Regardless, Eberflus was hired by Josh McDaniels, and Frank Reich is a good man. He kept all three of the coaches that the Colts officially hired before they put pen to paper at Josh McDaniels and he backed out. But he was so impressive that Frank Reich just decided, hey, stay, please. As long as you want, stay. So that's why I think he might get a head coaching job this year. We'll see. And my speculation that Ed Dodds might go to Chicago with Eberflus, Jordan, you can take your victory lap because that is not happening. Ed Dodds has removed himself from general manager consideration with the Chicago Bears.
I told you Ballard got in his ear and he probably made him feel really, really bad about wanting to go there. Like, not that he wants to leave you know what I mean? Like, he's like, hey, man, you could do a lot better than the Chicago Bears. And yeah.
That, and there's another theory. So, I don't know if you know this, but Ed Dodds started his career with the Raiders in 2003. On that coaching staff with Ed Dodds was Jim Harbaugh, the quarterback coach of the then Oakland Raiders. Jim Harbaugh, Ed Dodds, they know each other. They've worked together before. They're both in conversation for the Raiders gig. Say it ain't so, Jordan. You're going to be heartbroken, but...
No, I honestly won't be. I'll be happy for Ed Dodds. He moves on. He gave up a lot of opportunities to stay with the Colts, and that's more than I can ask for, I guess, as a fan. Just the fact that he's loyal and waiting for the right opportunity because he's highly coveted. So I'll have no hard feelings or any,
not hard feelings, just sadness.
No, I won't be sad. I'll be happy for him. I really will be. I think that front office is fine. I know other people think otherwise, but I think the front office will be fine without him. Thank you for your service, Mr. Dodds.
Well, I'm just trying to torture you, and it's just
not. It's not going to work, man. Like, I have been tortured enough.
Oh, wow. Sorry. I was looking through Twitter, man. Josh McCown was interviewed by the Texans for the head coaching spot.
Of course he was.
I interviewed him again. Oh, my God.
Of course he was.
That's going to stir up a lot of, like...
Let's pull this up. We're going to get this going on here. I'm pulling it up. We'll share the screen here.
Oh, gosh.
So Josh McCown, remember, everyone theorized that, hey, Josh McCown, he would be the perfect head coach candidate. You know what? You pair him with a strong offensive coordinator, strong defensive coordinator, and let him learn to be a head coach. That's kind of weird. I don't know why you want someone, their first coaching gig, to be learning how to do it. But here it is. The Houston Texans have completed their interview with Josh McCown for our head coaching position today. Look at him. Just look at him.
I wanted to wait to have this conversation, and I think I will when we get to another team, so I'll wait. But, I mean, they interviewed him last year, and everyone's like, okay, whatever. They thought it was, outrageous that he just cut the line and able to get a head coaching interview without being like a coordinator or some sort of position coach, but whatever. I'm going to save my argument. I'll bring it up when we talk about another thing that you have down here for another team, but it's just ridiculous. That's just me. I think it's ridiculous. If he is going to be, and there have people like that, they're like, oh, this guy's going to be a great head coach. How do you know that? He hasn't been a head coach.
the one credit I'll give to Josh McCown, and I agree, shouldn't be a head coach, but I think he absolutely deserves to be an offensive coordinator, or at the very least, a QB coach, for the simple fact of the only time Sam Darnold has ever looked competent was thanks to Josh McCown. That's it.
That's some pretty sound reasoning, I guess.
He knows how to work with young quarterbacks. I would love for him to work with my young QB. But that's just me. Anyways, enough about the Houston Texans. Well, I guess, do we have anything else on the Texans? No, I think that's it. Breaking news here on Thursday Night Insights. So, back to where we were. Raiders, done with that. Jim Harbaugh. The Denver Broncos, Dan Quinn, we've already talked about. The Cardinals, though, that started to make some headlines today. And perhaps, just perhaps, the owner, Michael Bidwell, has realized what I've been saying for years now, that Cliff Kingsbury is a grifter, is a fraud, is an Urban Meyer-like head coach. Because today, report came out from Kyle Odegaard that Michael Bidwell is very, very upset. There was a very tense meeting where Bidwell screamed at Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim. Now Ian Rappaport has come out running interference, said that's not true. I'm going to side with Kyle Odegaard, though, because he worked for the Arizona Cardinals for 8 years. He has those inside sources.
Okay, I want to just bring out one thing you mentioned. I think, you know what? I kind of agree that Cliff Kingsbury is really overrated. But to compare him to Urban Meyer is just an indictment in and of itself. Like, that's like the lowest
That
thing
might be overstepping.
Yeah.
The comparison comes...
I get what you mean, but like if somebody like is listening to this for the first time thinking, "Oh God," like,
yeah,
why would you
I'm more
compare
making
him
the
to
comparison that college head coaches such as Urban Meyer, such as Cliff Kingsbury, such as Matt Rule, who we'll talk about in a second, they're usually grifters. Pete Carroll is the exception to the rule.
I guess so is Jim Harbaugh.
Nah,
Back in the day, like before,
Yeah.
like when he came from Stanford.
This is fair.
But he has the pedigree. Like he's proven he can run or lead an NFL team. So I know what you mean. Like I feel like he should be in that sort of realm as Pete Carroll. But
all right. So the rule is only Pac-12 head coaches. That's it. That's all we want in the NFL.
Well, I mean that didn't work out for Chip Kelly, so maybe.
Yeah,
not.
I was like, you need to have people that have grown and set up a dynasty team that they have continued success. They know what they're doing. They know what players are looking for and how to build those players up. And while I really appreciate the fact that Cliff had Patrick Mahomes and went I think he was 18-13 and never won a playoff game. 13-18?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Even worse. You have Patrick Mahomes and you do this. Like what?
And that's it. And I'll agree with that because Jim Harbaugh, he built Stanford up completely as a football program. Pete Carroll sustained years long at USC.
Yeah.
When you look at Matt Rule, it was Temple and it was the raw, we're going to beat you. And it's quick and it's fast. And then he gets the Baylor job. And then it's a quick, raw team building. And then he leaves for the next job. That runs out quick. And Urban Meyer, same thing. Went to Florida, built it up quick, had to leave. Ohio State, built it up quick, had to leave. Back to Nevada, back to Bowling Green. It's all the same. Just stop with all of these flash in the pan college coaches being hired.
You know what? Obviously it's not happening now because I went to USC, but like I feel like that could have been Lincoln Riley's, downfall. Like if he hadn't left Oklahoma,
it'll happen at some point.
He will. I know, but he would have been in the mix of all these jobs too.
Maybe not actually, because USC kind of sounds like the dream gig.
Yeah.
Caleb,
but you never know. Maybe he'll get the NFL itch. He'll probably get it. He's a young guy. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Speaking of the Panthers, though, Pep Hamilton, the still technically offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans, he'll probably be let go when a new head coach comes in and picks their staff. He turned down an interview with the Carolina Panthers to be their offensive coordinator. And I think that was a brilliant decision because he's more qualified to be the head coach of the Carolina Panthers than the offensive coordinator. He's more qualified to be the head coach of the Carolina Panthers than Matt Rule. Pep Hamilton, let's not forget, worked with Andrew Luck at Stanford, with the Colts, went to the XFL as the head coach and GM. This is not only a man who's good at scheming on the field, X's and O's, but this is a man with experience building programs, building franchises. Shouldn't be sitting under Matt Rule.
Yeah, he's been around too. I'm pretty sure Jason backed me up on this. Wasn't he Anthony Lynn's offense coordinator with the Chargers? I think. Maybe he was on. I thought he was on the side. I think he was somewhere else too. But you're right. He's been around. I think that's fine.
There's a couple other places he's been, and I kind
of again, he's got the experience, and I think it's funny that he would rather.
I'm pretty sure he was a quarterback coach.
Yes, I think you're right.
Oh, he was.
I was like, oh, he's working with Herbert. Great. I really like him there because he had worked with Luck and everybody else. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's going to work out perfect. Have a perfect quarterback, build into the situation, and it's going to be an awesome fit.
I knew he was on there. I wasn't sure if it was OC or quarterback.
Well,
and he does have the experience. I just want to say, you remember when Joe Brady was hired by the Panthers? And he was another one that everyone anointed. Oh, future head coach. Just because, like, what he did with LSU was tremendous. I know you're going to be like, oh, well, look who he had. I know. But people were anointing him. People kept saying, oh, this guy's going to be a head coach in a couple years. And look at it now.
I was one of them. And I still think he is eventually. However, I think he fell prey to Matt Rule wanting to run the football. I also think that he wasn't the innovator we expected him to be because we look at innovative offenses, they run quick. They run a lot of plays. There's not a lot of time between snaps. It's a lot of hurry up. And that's the one thing Cliff Kingsbury does well. I'll give him that. Joe Brady never did that.
But is that because he didn't have the tools? Like, did he not like...
Teddy Bridgewater was a veteran quarterback, and even with Teddy Bridgewater, you could have done it.
Yeah.
Why didn't you?
Well, I'm actually kind of surprised. Okay, say that the Giants don't end up with the 49ers coaching staff that I'm really hoping for.
Oh, we got to get into that.
That'd actually be a really good Pep Hamilton spot for him because you'd have a full offense that he could really work with. He could actually work with Daniel Jones or whatever quarterback they decide to bring in and really build that whole offense up and have good weapons. I mean, they have solid weapons that were there with Tooney and Galladay, and I mean, Barkley,
as long as they can stay healthy.
So, yeah. Granted, that's always going to be part of it. They have all the options there that even when they're not, you have different pieces that you can rotate in that will have success as well.
Can we go to the Giants?
We absolutely
can go to the talk Giants. About this because Jason and I are completely opposite.
There are three candidates or three finalists, for GM. And remember, they're hiring GM. I don't think they've even done head coaching interviews, and I believe that's because the GM already has someone in mind. So, candidate number one, Joe Schoen, Bill's assistant general manager. He will likely bring in Brian Daboll and Mitch Trubisky to compete with Daniel Jones, which means they're tanking.
Oh, what a quarterback room that will be.
They're tanking for the first overall pick if that's happening. And then imagine Brian Daboll with Bryce Young. Oh, yes, please.
But that's the thing, too. If Daboll does come in, and you know what? NFL fans... Not a lot of them know what's going on. All they do is watch the games, and that's their opinion on everything. I think Daboll could actually do good work with both Trubisky and Jones. So if it's Daboll and that's the two quarterbacks you're working with, as a Giants fan, I wouldn't feel worse about having Joe Judge. I know I wouldn't.
you either rebound and he rebuilds them and you don't need a
or
quarterback.
you're getting Bryce Young. You're right. Like
It's
you're
a
right.
win-win. So that's number one. That's the first finalist. The second is Kansas City Director of Player Personnel, Ryan Poles. He's the second finalist. Maybe he brings in Eric Bieniemy. Maybe he finally gets the head coaching job he deserves. And then the third finalist here, 49ers assistant GM Adam Peters. Unfortunately, Jason, it was not Rand Carthon. However, Adam Peters could bring Mike McDaniel and Jimmy Garoppolo to compete with Daniel Jones.
Jason, do you want to go this first? Because I'll go on a bit of a rant about that.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of bringing Jimmy G in just because it's a completely different player, but you're doing the same thing that you're kind of already thinking about with Lance there, and you're going to have to trade. Granted, 49ers save a lot of money by getting rid of Jimmy this offseason. So keep that in mind as something that if depending on where they go, they do end up bringing in Jimmy G, it'd be more beneficial for the 49ers than it would be for any team that he goes to. But it's just going to be such a talented offense.
Is it?
I mean, you have all the pieces. Like if they invest at all in getting an offensive line in there, it's going to be very scary. They bring in Jimmy G. Okay, perfect. You have Barkley there who can take over the Mitchell and whatever.
The left side of the Giants
Hasty
line isn't bad either. Andrew Thomas took massive improvements in year 2. Will Hernandez, he moved to right guard, but still a solid guard.
And they have 2 top 10 picks, which it's pretty good offensive line class, especially like early. So they were smart.
That would be how they would build it. They'd get a full line. You have Jimmy G back there, more than likely. You have all the right weapons there. I mean, I'm assuming that Tooney would end up being the Samuel role, but
so and are you under the assumption that Mike McDaniel's head coach? Are you still like?
You kind of have to assume that if they bring in a 49ers GM, that's going to be how it goes.
Okay, this is where I have a problem with it. I think that maybe Jimmy G could go there. That could be a landing spot. I don't have a problem with that. But Mike McDaniel. Okay, let me start off why I hate this for 2 reasons. One, there's no way that the Giants, who their last few head coaches are all about hard-nosed, like, football, you run the ball, blah, 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 and then they bring in Mike McDaniel. It's completely opposite of how they operate. But let's just say
that often happen.
Well, not with the Maras. Maras are just like, this is what we do. I don't whatever.
I don't know. Don't people often overcorrect after a bad breakup?
Let me keep going. I'm not done yet. Not done yet. Could you imagine this guy goes up? They're 3-11, and he goes up, tries to be funny with the reporter. He's gonna get crucified in the New York media. Crucified. And 2, if he ends up a head coach, and I hope this doesn't happen, I don't think it will, because Brian Flores is probably going to get head. If he gets a head coaching job, riding the coattails of Kyle Shanahan, whereas like other experienced and well-qualified African-American coaches don't get a head coaching job, you'll hear that. You will hear that, and he'll be the forefront of it. And so will Josh McCown if he gets the Texans job.
Yeah.
I just think it's a horrible fit. I don't think Mike McDaniel... I don't know. Great. He does a good job at running Kyle Shanahan's offense, but other than that, doesn't really impress me over too much. That's just me. I'm sorry.
It really depends on who else he brings with him. I mean, that's really what's going to build this. And I'm assuming that when they bring in a 49ers GM, he already has a plan that you're going to kind of
if he gets hired as a head coach, I can tell you right now, I'm going to hate it. I'm going to hate whatever team, and I'm going to root against it. Just because I feel
I'm
like
going to love it because
I feel like he's gonna be a fantastic soundbite. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, this guy's great," and then he gets to the field and then he's just drowning because he doesn't know what he's doing.
I'm all about the first millennial head coach.
Oh, don't get me
Just think about it.
This guy is like the equivalent of like a Madden player or a coaching football.
So we've got the crusty old.
I hate being the get off my lawn guy, but I don't like this. I would be sick to my stomach if this guy's my head coach.
We've got the first millennial head coach coming into the NFL with Mike McDaniel. Soon enough, we're gonna have the first Zoomer quarterback next year with Spencer Rattler. And it's going to be great. I truly believe, though, that it is going to be Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen.
I still think it's Brian Flores. That's still my guess. Said that last week, and I still am good with that. I would love Brian Flores in New York.
So I think we've covered everything. The only thing we forgot to mention, alongside Matt Eberflus being a finalist in Jacksonville, there's reportedly one or multiple people playing this weekend that are finalists. And
I said this. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Oh, the assumption is that it is Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator for the Packers and offensive coordinator for the Jaguars in the AFC Championship run. It's Byron Leftwich. We've talked about that ad nauseum. And it's also Todd Bowles with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And there's also chatter about from the Rams, Raheem Morris as well in Jacksonville. So those are the four names I'm hearing.
I think Eberflus is just the first finalist because he's available. Like, he's not coaching and just easier for him to interview. They have to go offensive coach here. They have to. Unless you're getting because I feel like if you bring in a defensive coach, most likely your offensive coordinator is a guy that's OC that doesn't call plays or quarterback's coach. And I would want an established offensive guy to help out Trevor because that's your prized possession. You got pieces on the defense, build that up. Bring in a defensive guy, a guy that you trust, a guy that you know. I don't know. That's just me. I don't think Eberflus is going. And like I said in the Discord chat, did they watch the Week 18 game? They shredded the Colts defense. You really want that guy leading your team? I don't mean to keep hating Eberflus, but sorry. You got me going. I got myself going. You tried to
I tried to bait you earlier.
You tried to bait me, and I just bait
Didn't
myself.
work. I tried to bait you with Ed Dodds, and I ended up getting you with Matt Eberflus unintentionally.
I hate it because I don't hate Matt Eberflus. I really don't. I think he could be a fine head coach. We'll have to see. I don't know really much about him.
Yeah. Anyways, that wraps up all of our news that we've been talking about. Jason here will be looking at the Twitter for anything breaking coming in. But now it's time for the quarterback carousel. And before we get to it, I just want to recap the quarterbacks that we believe, or at least I believe, they're staying no matter what. Justin Fields with the Bears, obviously. There's some small chance that Brian Flores goes there, tries to bring in Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers is not going to Chicago. He said that.
No.
Now Russell Wilson, that's where the smoke could be.
Well, Flores wants one of those three quarterbacks, no matter what job he takes. And that's the only reason I think he could miss on a job and wait for another year to pair himself with an elite quarterback. He doesn't want to waste time building someone up, is what's reported. Yeah. Anyways,
well, that's why I said last week that I don't see Brian Flores with the Bears, just because I can see a whole him and Tua power struggle thing again. And then you just ruined another, and then the Bears will just be mired in mediocrity, and then Justin Fields leaves, and then you're back to square one.
Yeah. So Justin Fields, we believe, is staying. Very, very small chance he leaves. If that happens, we'll get to it. Josh Allen, obviously staying. Joe Burrow, obviously staying. Tom Brady, technically a free agent, probably staying. I don't think he's leaving.
He won't go anywhere. I think he stay. Even if they don't win a Super Bowl, if it was for Aaron Rodgers, this guy would be MVP. This guy is still playing at an elite level. There's no reason why he'll step away unless he wants to, and he's reiterated that he's not going to. So I think he's staying.
Very happy in Florida. It sounds like Tom Brady and Mike Evans love each other very much. Chris Godwin, he's coming back. Tom Brady's going to demand they pay him. Tom Brady's the de facto general manager in Tampa Bay. So he's staying.
The real question is, who is he going to bring in to replace Antonio Brown?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Well, I mean, they have guys like Tyler Johnson.
Oh, Tom Brady.
You know it's not the same thing.
Well, it's not the same thing because they're not 8B, obviously. But you could do it by committee. They're not going to be able to get a guy like 8B.
Jalen Darden.
Jalen Darden's another one.
I would have to look at the free agent wide receivers. Allen Robinson, though, could be a sneaky sign, cheap 1 year deal.
No, they won't. If they're gonna keep Godwin, they can't. They won't have both. They won't have enough cap room for both.
Now I'm saying Robinson takes the Antonio Brown contract.
No, he can get way more than that. I know he had a down year, but he can definitely get over 10 million. That's
Regardless, Tom Brady staying. We'll see who wide receiver 3 is. Kyler Murray, obviously staying. Justin Herbert. Jason, do you think he's staying?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I got distracted by potential wide receiver options. And I'm kind of thinking, looking at the list here. All right. You have Will Fuller.
oh god.
That could be fun if he can stay healthy. Which
I
we're
read
already
a
having
theory
issues there.
today that
Juju
Will
Smith-Schuster?
Fuller, Juju in Tampa Bay would be interesting.
That would be.
I read a theory today that Will Fuller, he signed with Miami under the pretense they were trading for Deshaun Watson. And when that didn't happen, that's
He
what
decided not to
caused
play?
the finger, whichever finger it was. I'm not going to use the that's a theory. I don't believe it, but
I mean, it makes sense, but again,
But
like,
also,
he had the
makes,
opportunity to be a 1, and
yeah, it
it's
also makes
frustrating.
sense that Will Fuller missed most of the year with injury, so it's hard to really discern that
after
he
using
held
PEDs.
out.
also Justin Herbert staying, obviously, Jason, even though you got distracted. Dak Prescott not going anywhere. Jalen Hurts was told by general manager Howie Roseman, as was the rest of the public, that he's QB1 next year. He's earned it. And I
think
agree.
I think that's legitimate. I don't think that's a smokescreen.
Only exception, again, I don't see it happening, but if they could get Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, that's the only way you move on from Jalen Hurts.
And they have the cap. They have 3 first-round picks, so yes, it's possible. But I agree. Like, you have Jalen Hurts, build him up, build around him. He's on a rookie contract. That's what I
Get
would
in
do.
a quarterback coach.
Yeah.
That's what they need to focus on. Good Lord.
And none of the options in this class are going to be that big of an upgrade. I am of the mind that if you can land an elite option, always do it. That's why you make the exception for Rodgers and Russ. But trading for Derek Carr, drafting Kenny Pickett, it doesn't make sense. So use those 3 first-round picks to build up the team. Jalen Hurts is staying. Trevor Lawrence, obviously staying, as is his 2nd overall pick, Zach Wilson. Patrick Mahomes, probably staying. I'm kidding. He's obviously staying. Mac Jones, staying. Matthew Stafford, staying for at least 1 more year, probably more. Lamar Jackson, staying for at least 1 more year. Maybe signs a mega deal this offseason. And Ryan Tannehill, staying this offseason. So, now, let's get to it. Or, well, do we want to talk about the quarterbacks that are available, or do we just want to get right to the teams and our predictions?
Just get right to it. We'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone doing that.
All right, let's do that. So, team number 1, this is going to be alphabetical order. And remember, there are 6 potential rookie quarterbacks who matter. Kenny Pickett, Sam Howell, Matt Corral, Malik Willis, Carson Strong, Desmond Ridder, and Bailey Zappi.
That's
We'll
7.
see. Oh, that is 7. Sorry, there's 6 at the Senior Bowl plus Matt Corral. That's what I'm thinking of with the 6. Regardless, those are the rookies that we're not going to throw them to teams. We're not a mock draft website yet. Maybe.
Yeah, we have a while before we start really getting.
Hey, I've been doing mock drafts for like 6 years now.
Regardless, we're just gonna put in rookies as placeholders. Maybe mention who. First team, the Denver Broncos, because Teddy Bridgewater underwhelmed. They weren't happy with him.
Yeah,
He's
that's really
probably
the case. They weren't happy with him. But are you happy with Drew Lock? That's a big.
No, you're not. But he is back because he's on a rookie deal. You don't owe him anything in terms of money, and you have no ties to him for the future. So he's there for sure. Do they sign someone, trade for someone, Aaron Rodgers, or draft someone?
Again, like I said this last week, whoever the head coach is, if Dan Quinn or whatever, I'm asking George Payton, what is the plan at quarterback? And it'll be interesting to see. Like, I don't know where they're drafting. I have to see the draft order. Is it top 10.
They're number 9, I believe.
So, depending on who else is above them, you have your pick at the litter. If you want to go rookie quarterback, ride out with
the only team above them in the draft that I think the Giants could, but I don't think they will. We'll get to that later.
Panthers, right? Is the Panthers?
Panthers are the only one. Washington and Pittsburgh pick after the Broncos.
Yeah, so you have to worry about trading up. Yeah, so they're in a position to take one of these guys. But yeah, it's a very enticing landing spot. They have pretty much everything on offense you want to succeed. So it's very enticing for an Aaron Rodgers or a Russell Wilson. I hope they go that route because that just causes more chaos and everything.
They're going to try. They're going to try desperately. And forgot to mention as well, big time rumors that Kirk Cousins, Broncos, Steelers, and Panthers are going to be competing for his services, depending on Rodgers and Russell Wilson.
Oh, what a consolation prize.
Hey, Kirk Cousins is, like I've been saying over and over again, Kirk Cousins is a really good fantasy quarterback.
Well,
he's fun.
Do you think they care? Like, yeah. Well, he got me 20 points this week. I must be a great guy to run our franchise.
Well, no, but he's going to do enough that you're not going to lose games horribly because of what you have surrounding him. He has all the right options, much like he had in Minnesota, where he had a lot of success. And I think he could easily slip into that job and have success doing it.
I agree. If Kirk Cousins does come to the Broncos, I think I'll be fine. I just listening to they missed out on the other two. If they get traded, maybe they stay and they're like, okay, maybe we do have Kirk Cousins our best option, or Jimmy G. Who knows?
No, the real best option for anybody looking is Ryan Fitzpatrick. That man needs a job. Get him a job.
He played one quarter last year.
Yeah, but did you see him shirtless at the Bills game? That was super cool.
Yeah, he's a great locker room guy. He'll help build up your team and any young quarterback that you have there with him.
That's the only way I can see it.
Because every time he comes somewhere, he ends up starting instead of the young guy.
I think that's the only way. I think it's you have like the Tua situation. You bring him in, maybe start him a couple of games, get the rookie acclimated. There's no way he's going to a team and starting. He's not like going to come back to Washington and have a. That's what I think. Maybe I'll be wrong, but
so final call for the Broncos. Drew Lock staying. I think it's going to be a rookie, and I think that rookie will either be Sam Howell because he has a cannon of an arm, or Carson Strong because he also has a cannon of an arm. John Elway is going to love those two.
I don't know enough about the rookie quarterbacks to give my prediction, but I agree it's either going to be rookie or it's going to be someone they acquire.
Andy Dalton.
That would be
so much fun.
That would be so Broncos of them to bring on Andy Dalton. I think I called that last year. That was my guess for him to go last year, but he went to the Bears. So I actually want to. I'll back you on that one, Jason.
If Mason is still watching, he is definitely.
He probably turned it off.
I can't help myself. I had to do it. I love the talent. I love the arm, and with what you have as weapons there, he looked good with Mooney. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh my!
He can move the ball, and they have a
number
defense.
2. Cleveland Browns.
Baker
Do
Mayfield.
they stick with Baker Mayfield? Jason's already.
Yeah, I think they will.
They're suckers, man. They've bought into it. He's done enough, and they are just frustrated with this.
What I want to know is, and I think you're gonna mention it. What is the backup? Is it gonna be Case Keenum again? Who Stefanski loves? Stefanski loves some Case Keenum. Or are you going to go to a rookie and be like, okay, this guy's nipping at your heels. You don't have that long-term contract. You're playing on your 5th year. So
that's what I think is going to happen. Baker is back without an extension because they have him for one more year. Or is he in his 5th year? Or is this his 4th
He will be
year?
going into his 5th year.
Yeah, he's still.
And they have optioned him. So he does have 1 year left.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So Baker they'll make him play out that last year. They can franchise tag him if they want, or they can re-sign him after that. I also think they draft a quarterback in the 2nd round. Probably keep Case Keenum just in case, but draft Desmond Ridder out of the University of Cincinnati, kind of at what the Philadelphia Eagles did with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts. Take that 2nd round shot at quarterback just in case, because you never know.
I think they should put pressure on him by adding Mike White.
the star from
Oh,
Western
man.
Kentucky.
I mean, the guy needs a backup. I think that would be a good option. I think he has talent and he's willing to take some risk. So
I don't know why the Jets would get rid of him to back up Wilson. I like just what you saw from him.
Yeah.
I don't understand a lot of the things the Jets do, but that doesn't mean anything.
I like
why
to
do you
like I s-
continue to start Zach Wilson over Mike White? I don't understand.
Because Mike White kind of face planted in.
and also you spent a second overall pick on Wilson that you
That's
decided to
your own
start.
fault.
I know, but
Much like the Trey Lance and
okay. Well, let's. Anyways, go back
Baker's
to the Browns.
back.
Baker's
Okay.
back. I don't know if they'll bring back Keenum, but I can definitely see the second round rookie nipping at the heels. Maybe they bring on somebody maybe less, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe not as good as Case Keenum to like back up Baker and then have whoever your third quarterback or
Brian Hoyer.
well, maybe not Brian Hoyer, but
He's already been there.
Colt McCoy, someone like that.
So Baker stays. Baker is back, baby. Oh, that felt gross. Is Carson Wentz back?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
for many reasons. Jason, you want to go ahead?
I just think he is because he had success. I think the fact that he lost, he didn't have Pittman there for a little bit, which is frustrating. I do think that he is able to run the offense, and I do think that the fact that he started the year with an injury that clearly slowed him down, I think, the first 6 weeks. But once he started to really get things rolling, he looked solid, and it's hard to move on from him. I think the talent's there, and with that offense, I think he'll work out just fine still, and they like him.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. And the thing is, too, if you're not gonna have him next year, what are you gonna do? Nobody wants Carson Wentz. You're not gonna fleece him to a team. No one wants him. And who are you gonna replace him with? You don't have a first round pick, so you can't go after one of the rookies. And who available besides the Aaron Rodgers, besides the Russell Wilsons, those guys? You don't really have, like, again, you don't have first round picks. So you don't have what it takes to get those guys to trade for them. And the other guys like Kirk Cousins, all you're doing is that's pretty much a lateral move because all you're doing is replacing one maligned quarterback with another. Jimmy G, okay, but is he that much better than Carson Wentz? And I don't know that, and I don't think that they'll risk it to find out. So I think Carson Wentz stays, and I think it's like 99.9% sure he stays.
Yeah.
Also, I know that, and I'm gonna just jump here just because we're getting on about my team. I don't know if they'll go up and get Carson Strong, maybe a quarterback in the mid rounds. I think they really like Sam Ehlinger. As you can see, like they got rid of Eason because of it. Brett Huntley they brought in off the street to who has NFL experience because of Carson Wentz ankle injuries, and then he reverted to the third quarterback, and Ehlinger is the backup. So I think they really like Ehlinger. Maybe they draft a third quarterback to just be in the room with them, but I think it's going to be Wentz and Ehlinger next year.
I think it'll be Wentz, and I wrote down a rookie, either in the second or third, or possibly.
They will. I'll tell you right now, they will not spend their first pick on a quarterback because they don't need it. They need so much other stuff.
This is true. So the main candidate I have for the Colts, though, is Bailey Zappi, because you can get him in the third, maybe fourth round.
Someone like that.
Also, star out of Western Kentucky, Jason.
Hey, I like Western Kentucky. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Mike White. Mike White, Bailey Zappi. So that's who I think the Colts target, because we've seen it with Sam Ehlinger, with Jacob Eason. They like taking shots on these later round quarterbacks.
Yeah, and Ehlinger seemed to hit on them because, like I said, he leapfrogged Brett Hundley, who has NFL experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So Carson is back no matter what. Dolphins. Do we think Tua is back no matter what?
No, you can't have so much of a stink with Brian Flores. They chose.
You don't think he's back?
No, I think he's back. Sorry, I think he's back. And I was saying that you don't. They chose Tua over Brian Flores, so there's no way that they're going to cut bait on Tua if that's the case. So I think Tua's there. Do we see a backup though? Are we going to see a backup who's a starting caliber quarterback? Give him a little bit of unrest to keep that job. Yes. Or are they going to baby him? Is Chris Gear just going to coddle him and draft a quarterback late or bring in I can't even think of it. Brissett again, maybe?
No, I have-
Winston.
But
I
but
like
if you
it.
bring in Winston, then you're thinking, okay, Winston could win this job, and do you want to do that to Tua's confidence?
What confidence?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You
have no choice at this point. You
no,
either
but you've chosen
show up or shut
they're
up.
dying on the Tua hill. Why would you go out and try and like ruin his confidence even more with like a starting caliber quarterback? Like maybe they get like Tyler Huntley or somebody to back him up. Where it's not like, okay, this is like somebody who's going to take my job. It's somebody, okay, we're set or feel good if Tua goes down.
See, I'm kind of in between here because I'm not going with a quarterback as good as Jameis, but I'm still going on a quarterback better than Jacoby Brissett. I'm going with Jimmy Garoppolo as the backup in Miami because
Wait, you think Winston's better than Jimmy G?
yes,
They're
I don't
two
know
very
about
different
that.
skill
is
sets.
Not the
Oh,
reason.
yes, yeah, you're right, but I don't know if it's better.
Yeah, no, I would rather have Jameis Winston than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah,
I still don't agree with the Jimmy G thing. That's still that Jimmy G like.
The reason I'm okay tossing out for like Jameis Winston in that situation is because of the fact that they have a solid defense. Like I didn't think they had a good defense, Winston wouldn't have that value. Like they're willing to move the ball downfield quickly and allow the rest of the time to be held by the defense because they have success doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you didn't have that trust, yeah. I mean, you see what they do with Tua, and he's pretty much him and Jimmy G are the same player in my mind. When I'm literally looking at it, that's what I see is he's a younger Jimmy Garoppolo. He doesn't have the experience. He's making the mistakes. It's fine. But you want to, if you're going to really push, you want the Ryan Fitzpatrick that has a cannon in Jameis Winston.
Well, another thing too, Jameis Winston's coming off a torn ACL, so we don't even know if he'll be available come week 1 of the NFL season. So that's another caveat.
Well, look at Derrick Henry.
To it later, but that's why I think he's back in New Orleans is because of the ACL tear. Have one more year to probably, we'll talk about it later. 49ers, Jimmy G, I've got him leaving. What happens with the 49ers? Do you think he stays in San Francisco? I think it's Trey Lance as a starter, and I think the backup, someone such as Taylor.
That actually makes sense. I think that I have to see the numbers. Jason mentioned it, but if it's financially viable to get rid of Jimmy G, it all depends on how Shanahan feels about Lance.
I think it
like
is.
if he is like
you make quite a bit of money. I think they like save $11 million or something.
Is that worth it though? Because like at least with Jimmy G, you know he can run your offense. Sometimes it doesn't get pretty. Sometimes he throws a really bad interception. But does he feel comfortable enough with Lance starting? That's what's going to be the key here.
Well, what if you could get like Teddy Bridgewater for half that amount? Like that's what I'm really looking at.
It's another quarterback that doesn't know your system. Like I would feel really good about having Jimmy G. I don't know. This one we have to wait on because they're still in the playoffs, right? Like what if Jimmy G wins the Super Bowl?
Yeah, and then he's staying in San Francisco. or you get a good trade coming for him.
Because this is the final year of his deal in 2022. He has a $27 million cap hit. You can get rid of $25.6 million in cap by getting rid of him. You only pay $1.4 million to keep him.
No, I get that. I trust me. I understand that. But does that really matter if your second-year quarterback can't run your offense?
If your second-year quarterback can't run the offense, wouldn't you want to learn that, bottom out, and draft a new one?
I mean, they're already doing that with a running back.
This is a conundrum. I don't know. I feel like I can't really answer that right now. I mean, yeah, the cap hit is enticing, but still, like, it all depends on Trey Lance's progression.
So I'm going with Trey Lance as a starter next year. Giants, we've already talked about. Daniel Jones and Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, that's where you can see
Andy Dalton.
Yeah, you already have him go to the Broncos. He's going to be everywhere.
Yeah, he's going to be everywhere. That's the player that you're actually wanting, and it's frustrating to see him behind Justin Fields. I'm so annoyed.
Justin Fields is better.
No, but okay. You're right though.
I would like to see Mooney have the success that he did with
Oh,
Dalton, with Fields. And it
Andy
hasn't happened.
Dalton. It locks into one quarterback or one receiver. Do you know why? Because backup
Because
quarterbacks.
he's good at it.
No, backup quarterbacks love to target one wide receiver. That's why DeAndre Hopkins got fed by Tom Savage, who was terrible.
Cole Kmet also had more relevance
Oh
with
my
Andy
god.
Dalton.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Stop talking about Andy Dalton. We
And
beat
so
that to
did
death.
David Montgomery. It's amazing what he did to the offense.
We've got
It's just
another
incredible.
we've got another Andy Dalton landing spot because the Detroit Lions. Jason probably thinks he belongs there too, pushing Goff.
Oh, no, I like Goff there. I think he's actually done a really good job, and I'm happy for him. I think that's a good fit, and I don't see why they'd move on from him after 1 year.
They can't.
Yeah, they can't. That's the
He's
thing
there
too.
for sure based on the contract. However, I want them to have an off route. They need a backup plan of some sort because the worst thing that could happen is Goff is good enough this year, has his ups and downs, looks good enough at the end of the season where he gets a big extension again. That will do.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere else. I thought you said he plays good enough that you're out of the Bryce Young sweepstakes.
No, I'm okay with that.
You honestly think though that the Lions are going to be a lot better. They won't be bottom 5.
No, because of the schedule they have.
Yeah, so no, I see that. So
I think you need to add some sort of quarterback this year. Maybe it's Bailey Zappi, who they're working with at the Senior Bowl. And if you want to hear me talk about the Lions at the Senior Bowl, check out the Believe in Lions podcast.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
The plugs are for the end. You can't plug your stuff while we're still recording.
I can plug my stuff whenever I want because it is fluid with the transitions. Anyways, Lions, Jared Goff. I think they do add a rookie. I hope they add a rookie because you can't go back with Tim Boyle as your backup, and I don't think it makes sense to add Teddy Bridgewater, Andy Dalton, Case Keenum.
PJ Walker.
No, he's back in Carolina for sure.
Oh, dang it.
He signed with Carolina. So I think maybe it's Bailey Zappi. Jack plugs when he damn well pleases. From Mason Cameron. I am shocked that Mason is still listening.
Mason, what's your opinion on Andy Dalton going to the Broncos? That's what we want to know.
Goodness. He probably didn't listen to that.
He's so annoyed with me already. I'm not even going to deal with it.
Regardless, Lions working with Sam Howell, Malik Willis, and Bailey Zappi. Whoever their next QB is, they're going to be running the football because all three of them are mobile quarterbacks. Division rival while we wait for Mason in the NFC North, the Green Bay Packers.
Rodgers is love.
That's the question though. Does Rodgers stay?
I have no idea.
It's really tempting. That's the if he nice. If he
to Andy Dalton.
You like it.
No, he doesn't. He literally does not.
But I mean, the fact that he's shown up, he's stopped running his mouth as much. I think that has really changed how the Packers view him. And the fact that he's been more vocal on the fact that he wants to be involved. If they actually involve him this offseason, I could see him staying for that reason.
I think
instead of complaining. Like if you just come out and complain, it's not the same thing.
I think the only way he stays is if they win the Super Bowl. I think it's the only way because if they lose the 49ers, what reason does he have to stay? And especially if they lose because he Devontae Adams getting triple covered. I saw something hilarious. Like everyone's like beating the drum for Randall Cobb coming back. Like, oh my God, look at his quarterback rating. He throws Randall Cobb. I'm like, you think Randall Cobb is going to win you a football game right now? Like you're really putting all of your faith in Randall Cobb.
No, Alan Lazard is who I'm putting my faith in.
Of course. See, I think Rodgers is back because the Packers have full control over his contract. I know there was big news because
I thought he had an opt-out. I thought they
No. I was about to get to that. There was big news that it's okay. Don't apologize because a lot of people think this. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers have reached an agreement and they will, in good faith, negotiate a new deal this offseason.
In good faith. Okay.
Yeah. No, what happened? No.
Go on. Keep going.
Oh, what happened was they made peace and said, hey, let's win a Super Bowl. We'll table it for the offseason. If you're still unhappy then, because remember, he really, really likes Matt LaFleur. It's just Brian Gutekunst. It's only him that Roger has the problem with. And after watching Jordan Love start, maybe Brian's being a little bit nicer.
Oh,
He's
Yeah,
back.
he single-handedly
What a
lost the
mess.
game.
I
Roger
tell you,
lost-
man.
Every time he's played, he has lost the game.
If he loses to the 49ers this weekend, there is no way he's coming back.
Probably.
Even in the AFC Championship too. Like, I think it's Super Bowl or bust for Rodgers to stay. That's just my opinion.
What's your opinion on the Carolina Panthers?
This one's like, I don't even know where to start with this. Like what you said, like,
I don't think you can pay anybody to come in.
well, Darnold and PJ Walker will be there, so I think that's it. And then you have right here. Actually, do you want to say what you have? Who you think?
They're drafting a quarterback in the first round.
So then, someone's on their way out then, and
Well,
sadly might be PJ, because I mean, like the fact that if he couldn't get that starting job this year, says a
PJ
lot
signed for $870,000.
I get that, but like, how
That's
much
why
is
he's out.
how much is going to kill you if? Yeah, exactly. Darnold cutting him.
You can't get rid of Darnold. They're locked
Exactly.
into that. It costs you nothing to get rid of PJ Walker. They're gonna draft Kenny Pickett because they pick at 6. They're gonna have their choice of quarterback, and it's gonna be Kenny Pickett. According to NFL circles, Kenny Pickett is the darling, the star of the draft. He's going first at QB.
I heard that too.
Raiders, though, do they stick with Derek Carr?
They would
even
be
with the new
stupid.
regime?
Stupid to get rid of Derek Carr. And I think that Harbaugh would not, whoever their GM is going to be, Harbaugh probably wants the job because it has to do with Derek Carr, because that's one place where the quarterback situation is stable. You know what you have in Derek Carr. He's shown flashes. Like, he's not elite, but man, like you put a defense around him, you build around him. I think that you could actually win with Derek Carr. So if the Raiders trade him, I'll take him. That's one player that we were just talking about. Who would you be an upgrade from Wentz? I mean, I'll take Derek Carr.
Yeah. That's why I don't think he's going anywhere.
No, I think he's staying.
Unless if they go with Jim Harbaugh, maybe he wants to mold a QB of the future, but at the same time, they don't have the pick for that.
Yeah. And like, I know that Russell Wilson had the Raiders on his trade list. So if you really want to, but that's going to be Derek Carr plus for Russell Wilson. And I don't think that's worth it.
On the last year of his deal, but remember, for quarterback, the franchise tag is a valuable resource because it means nothing at quarterback. You're already allocating about $30 million no matter what. It bumps it to what, $33 million? We're splitting hairs at this point. Quarterbacks are going to be expensive. Derek Carr is back with the Raiders, and I believe Jameis Winston is back with the Saints. We know Taysom Hill is back with the Saints, and I believe they will also draft a rookie quarterback in the first round.
Ooh.
I mean, if that's the case, this has to be where Ritter goes.
Really? In the first?
See, I don't know about quarterbacks. I'm not even going to give you
Okay. So he is a Cincinnati quarterback, super talented kid. He's big, he's strong, he's mobile, which is a big key here because you know how much Peyton loves his.
Sorry.
Yeah, Peyton loves Hill. So it's just one of those things that if he first round, I do think is expensive. I could see them waiting because I'm sure he might fall, but if he raises his draft price with a combine or anything else, I'm nervous that he could easily go here, and that would be an issue.
See, maybe in the second round, if they don't take a QB first round, Desmond Ridder would be great to the Saints round 2. I think they do go round 1, and it's Malik Willis for the reasons you mentioned. Big, strong, mobile, built like a running back, but a cannon for an arm, more accurate, better passer than Taysom Hill. That's what I see happening with the New Orleans Saints.
You just
Jordan.
convinced me. No, you convinced me. Because I do think that Jameis with the injury, it just makes sense for him to come back. You know the system, you're comfortable with it. Taysom's there anyways. Probably going to be week 1 starter. And
Whatever
I mean, like,
QB they draft too is going to need time to season.
yeah, exactly. And I don't think Peyton's going to do that because Peyton's basically the Saints. I know they kind of had their bumps. They're still an over 500 team. They want to compete. Like, I feel like that team, they're in cap hell, but they find their way out of it. And I think they'll do it again this year.
The roster's too good to.
Yeah, exactly.
down.
They're too good. You bring in a quarterback and you groom him, and it's a pretty. I won't say it's good actually. It's decent quarterback room to learn from, as long as it's not Ian Book.
Yes. Seahawks, though, what do they do? Because Russell Wilson is going to see his options, whatever that means, because he has no control over his landing spot because he can't force his way out technically.
This one's tough because I would want a quarterback in return. Like we said, like if the Raiders get him Derek Carr, because they don't have their first round pick, which is a very valuable first round pick.
Eagles get Jalen Hurts.
So
in return.
That's what I mean.
No,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, you need a quarterback if you're giving up
Tua and whatever. But I like that. We're just speculating with that.
Yeah,
This was too early again to call. Like I don't know. We'll have to see the rumblings. This one will probably make itself more clear once the season ends. I don't know. I think it's too early to tell on this one. So right now I'll say Russell Wilson stays.
He will. Because the Seahawks are in control. What better option do they have? Because Pete Carroll's back and his job is not totally secure.
They have to choose. I've been saying this all along. Like, you can fire Ken Norton all you want, but it's either going to be you're going to have to pick. It's either going to be Pete Carroll or Russell Wilson, and they better make the right decision. And we all know what the right decision is, maybe except for the Seahawks. So
I was talking to Lofa Tatupu a little while ago on the Believe in Lions podcast, and he believes that they can make up with each other if Russ gets a little bit more control.
Well, I mean, like, if you haven't given him control now, like, what's going to change? Is it because they played so bad? Like, why didn't you give him it last year or when he was asking for it? I don't know. It seems a little short-sighted. I don't want to.
Maybe Russ just needs to be more aggressive in the audibles.
Yeah, you need to take control of it if that's your only option.
I just see a messy divorce coming with them. I really do.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers would take control with the audibles. Regardless, I think Russ stays. I think Aaron Rodgers stays. I think Derek Carr stays. So I think pretty clearly the most desirable quarterback is Kirk Cousins.
Ugh, wow.
And I think he goes to Pittsburgh. I truly believe it.
Makes sense.
Because Steelers need something, and people talk about Kenny Pickett. They're going to have to trade up for him.
It makes so much sense, though. Like,
they have a lot of success drafting quarterbacks, though.
Yeah, and like, I feel like Kenny Pickett.
Ben Roethlisberger in 2004? When was the last time they drafted a good quarterback?
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger in 2004. What other dynasty do you need there? 18 years of success.
Mason Rudolph, Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, as backups. They knew they weren't going to be starting. Let's be honest here.
Regardless, I think that they don't pick high enough. They miss out on Rodgers, on Russ, and we haven't talked about Deshaun Watson. Too many legal issues involved there. We're not going to bring him up. But I think that Kirk Cousins is the best fit for it. Again, with the Saints, they're too good of a team to completely rebuild. You can't tank when you have a defense that good and pass catchers that good with the Steelers.
They do need to build up that offensive line, though, because it was so good and then it just fell apart in 2 years.
They do, but you can do that with look at the Bengals.
Well, and that's the thing too. If you're going to trade it for Kenny Pickett, you've just lost your exactly. Then you got to hope that people come in free agency, and that's why people gave him slack last year for drafting Najee Harris. Granted, it looked like a pretty good pickup, but he was Najee Harris. You knew what you were getting, so we weren't really surprised that he played well. But you kind of for like you ignored other areas that you could have improved on.
So that's why I have Kirk Cousins going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that leaves the Vikings with some question marks. I think they do give Kellen Mond a run. I think the Vikings are going to rebuild. I think they are going to do what the Lions did this year. They're going to unload a bunch of contracts. They're going to be bad. They're going to rebuild completely. Kellen Mond and Marcus Mariota are going to be the two quarterbacks in Minnesota this year, and it's going to suck. But Justin Jefferson is going to get fed because they're going to get rid of Adam Thielen. He's going to get traded in this rebuild with all of the picks. It's going to be okay for Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, and KJ Osborne.
Sure.
Yes. I mean, you already have him there. You might as well use him.
And Irv Smith Jr., don't forget.
Coming
Possibly. Back. It's not going to be as bad as we think for these pass catchers, but it's not going to be good for the win-loss column.
I really don't know how to rate Kellen Mond because like all I know about Kellen Mond is that Mike Zimmer hated Kellen Mond. Refused to play and played him in a couple snaps in that second last game because Mannion and the rest, like Mannion was fine, but they were like getting destroyed by the Packers. So like, okay, we'll see what we have in this guy. And he had like 3 passing attempts and they were like not very good. And then he had that soundbite after the game. So I don't know. Like, I think if they get rid of Cousins, Mariota, that's a good guess. Some guy like one of these guys we've been talking about that's like good enough to start, but maybe not great enough to be a franchise guy.
Yeah, it could be one. It could be a Jacoby there,
or it could be Andy Dalton. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's what
Jacoby very well could be. I think it's going to be Kellen Mond and some veteran. That's why I picked Marcus Mariota because he has that first round pedigree. He deserves a chance to compete for a starting job at the very least. Why not him? Final 2 teams. We've got 2 teams left before we get out of here. And if you have stuck with us this long, make sure you stay for Locked In at 9:00 p.m. Eastern, 8:00 p.m. if you're in Jason's weird time zone. Final 2 teams. Texans, Washington football team. Do the Texans stick with Davis Mills? And does the football team stick with Taylor Heineke?
Well, is Taylor Heineke a free agent?
No, he's got 1 year left.
Got 1 year left, so he'll stay. He'll know the offense. I can't see them getting
Davis Mills is definitely staying.
Yeah.
They love him too much.
Well, not only that, you have him for 3 more years. He's on a rookie deal. There's no point in trading him. Like, just get a quarterback that's better if you want to improve.
And they've been talking about trading back in the draft too.
Yeah. Again, Texans. What's going on with Deshaun Watson? Like, because they could trade him for a quarterback, right? Like, if like we said, like Eagles, you get Jalen Hurts back or something like that. So it could be Hurts and Davis Mills, or a lot of people said Tua. I don't think that's going to happen either. But
regardless, though, it's Davis
Mills.
Or
Drew Lock and Davis Mills, something like that. Well, you know what I mean? Like they'll trade Drew Lock plus for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
And then you have Washington and rookie first rounder. I think that's true. I think Washington's like the most needy for like a rookie quarterback, some guy you can like build around or groom into like being your starter.
They have to.
They have to. And I'm surprised they didn't do it last year, but like they won the division, so it's not like they had a choice.
The defense wasn't that good last year, but they've still got a lot of pieces. They just paid too much for William Jackson, and the secondary is a bit of a mess, but that's schematics. They can fix that.
Mm-hmm.
Defense talent is still good. The offensive line is good. Skill positions, pretty good.
Yeah, hopefully you get a healthy year to Curtis Samuel.
But you got Terry McLaurin, Diami Brown takes another year, Logan Thomas back healthy. Obviously, you add on that, but what do they need? Washington only needs desperately a quarterback. And that's why I think it's going to be Matt Corral, the gunslinger out of Ole Miss.
Well, they also might need to fix the offensive line because I don't know if Leno's coming back. And
Leno's back. Leno
And
signed
are
a
they-
3-year deal.
Did he sign a 3-year deal? But also Brandon Scherf's probably not coming back.
I think he's back as well. I
Well,
think
he
he's
got
signed.
franchise. This was his second season franchise, so.
Oh, I thought he signed a deal.
Oh, if he did, I missed that. But I know that he went into the season on the second franchise. So if they figured things out, then yeah, then they're a quarterback. Seemed like they're a quarterback away.
Yeah. And again, Brandon Scherf, he's a guard though. At the same time,
Mm-hmm.
you can
Really good guard,
replace.
though.
No, really good guard, but you can get an average guard. You need a quarterback. Brandon Scherf is. Oh yeah, he is playing on the franchise tag again. You are correct. Anyways, for the Texans, I have the backup as Teddy Bridgewater. He would be perfect mentor for Davis Mills. Maybe Andy Dalton.
Andy
Kind
Dalton.
of the
that-
same player.
He's got him going to like 5 places. Andy Dalton. That's gonna be a.
That's because he's a hot
I
commodity.
didn't give Andy Dalton anywhere, actually.
Yeah, he's a hot commodity. Everybody's gonna want it. A cheap pro quarterback. It'll work out great.
But that's going to do it from us here on Thursday Night Insights. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for joining me here on the rescheduled night, Jason and Jordan.
Oh, it wasn't a problem for me.
Always a blast.
Say I threw Jason under the bus. Not a problem for me.
I didn't throw anybody under the bus. I just said it was fine with me.
It was the tone in your voice. You can find Jordan at Donald McJordan. You can find Jason at that FF Nerd. And you can find me at Javnaugh87. We will see you sometime in the near future. Maybe it'll be Friday. Maybe it'll be Thursday. Maybe it's Saturday. But whenever it is, we will see you next time.